Hola amigos, ¿qué tal? Stuart here from Spain Speaks with an update video. We'll have a bit of a chat about what has happened in Spain over the last week or so, and we'll have a bit of a chat about some other things too. Now, I just had the Civil Guard ask me what I'm doing here. They asked me if I had a drone on me, because here in the park you're not allowed to fly drones, and the Guardia Civil wondering what a foreigner is doing in this part of the country with a camera, and of course they thought that maybe, as I said, I had a drone, but it's not the case. Now, I apologize for this building that I have behind me here, but I was fascinated by it. I've seen it many times over the years, not sure exactly what it is. If anybody knows what this building is, it's just off the Valencia highway. You've probably seen it on your journeys through Spain if you have traveled down that highway. I've got no idea what it is, but an interesting building in ruins nonetheless, and a fantastic background of this regional park that I have behind me too. Now, what are some of the big stories that have been breaking in the news over the last week or so? Well, it's all about Spain and Israel. There is a diplomatic crisis on at the moment between Spain and Israel because of some of the comments that Prime Minister Sanchez has made regarding Israel. I'm not going to talk about this here today because, to be honest, I have absolutely no idea on the topic, so I'll push that one over to the side. So, another story that has been in the press this week about the environmental problems in the south of Spain, not to mention the drought. I'll mention that in a minute also, because that's starting to get serious. We saw that in last night's live stream, how serious the drought is getting in Spain. But the Doñana wetlands have also been making the news again. And the reason is that the central government and the Andalusian government have come up with a plan to try and save those important wetlands down there in Andalusia. They're going to throw money at the problem. They're going to throw money at farmers to get off those lands, to give up those farming projects that they have established down there in Doñana, and of course the illegal wells and the illegal irrigation that they need to grow those strawberries. Now, the total amount mentioned by the two governments is around 1.4 billion euros. They think that will fix the problem, and basically, as I said before, farmers are being offered incentives up to 100,000 euros to get off the land and to try to save that important wetlands, because as we know, it has been in danger now for a number of years because of this illegal irrigation. If you talk to farmers down there in Huelva, they will tell you that that is not the case, that they are not doing anything wrong. But if you talk to environmentalists, they will say that the park is being destroyed. So that's where that situation is at. So again, money being thrown at the problem. And I asked myself the question, why didn't they throw money at the situation before all of this happened in order to stop people going onto those lands in the first place, rather than trying to fix it after the fact? That's my question. Now, on a related topic, and that is the topic of drought. As we know, there are some parts of Spain that are very dry at the moment. Drought conditions there, water restrictions have come into place in Catalonia, some parts of Catalonia, and apparently if the situation doesn't improve soon, Spain's second biggest city, Barcelona, will have to have water shipped in to take care of the needs of the citizens in that city. So a very serious drought problem in Catalonia. Also in Malaga, there are water restrictions in various municipalities in the province of Malaga, again because it hasn't rained for a long time, and the dams or the reservoirs in that part of Spain are drying up if they haven't dried up already. So that's where we're at. Now, as you can see, a bit overcast today. It was a very rainy day yesterday, but not enough to fix the situation. I think on average around Spain, the dams are sitting at around 45-46%. Don't quote me on that figure. Maybe a little bit more after yesterday's rains, but it's going to be a long, dry winter, I think, because normally, especially in the center of Spain here, the winters are long, cold and dry. So not sure if we're going to fix the drought situation anytime soon here in Spain. What are some of the alternatives? Well, people are talking about desalination plants, the need for more desalination plants, but of course they cost a lot of money and difficult to get up and running politically, I think, here in Spain, but don't quote me on that. Now, another story that has caught my attention over the last week or so, a fairly light story from a news point of view, and it's about Spanish food. Apparently somebody took a picture of Spanish croquettes in the United Kingdom that had paella inside. Paella, as we know, is Spain's most famous dish, Spain's most international dish, and the British have gone and stuffed it inside a croqueta. And let's just say that a lot of people here in Spain are up in arms because they don't like people modifying these traditional dishes here in Spain. It happened a few years ago when Tesco decided to put a paella filling inside a sandwich, and that also made headlines back in the day. So a word of warning for anyone out there who's thinking of modifying one of these traditional Spanish dishes, don't do it if you don't want to have 48 million people against you going into the future. That would be my advice. Now, on the topic of food, Spanish food, I released a survey today on the channel in the community section, and I posed the question, is Spanish food overrated? Now, I did this about an hour and a half ago, and I've got 176 votes so far, and the majority of people are saying no, Spanish food is not overrated. Only 37% saying that yes, it is. And I'm going to be honest with you guys and tell you my opinion, and that is that in my humble opinion, Spanish food is overrated. It's not as good as some people say. Now, if you're here on holiday for a couple of weeks having a break, you'll probably find Spanish food decent because it's different from what you're used to eating at home. But if you've been living here for a long time, which is my case, close to 25 years, if not over 25 years, to be honest, I'm a bit sick of eating Spanish food every day. Okay, you go to the supermarket, you can buy fresh ingredients, you can do whatever you want with that food. But when it comes to restaurants here in Spain and the type of food that's being served up in a lot of restaurants here, I'm not going to say all restaurants, but in my opinion, a majority of restaurants, it's all pretty much the same food. And as I said, I get sick of eating the same things in restaurants every time I go. One thing I'll say though is that Spain does have a good dining culture. It does have a good restaurant culture. I enjoy going to restaurants, but again, in my opinion, a lot of restaurants lack variety. But hey, that's just my opinion. If you want to give your opinion, the comment section below is the place to do it. Now, keeping on the subject of polls and surveys that I have been putting out in the community section on the channel over the last week or so, I've gone a bit crazy with these polls. I've been putting one out every day. As I said, the one today about Spanish food, your opinion on that. Yesterday, I put a poll out about the Spanish Christmas lottery and whether or not people play the Spanish lottery. That got 346 votes and only 12% of people saying that yes, they play the Spanish lottery. The majority don't play the Spanish lottery, and 32% saying not yet. And then the day before that, I put out a poll on the amnesty, the Catalonian amnesty, and what effect it will have on Spain, whether it's going to be positive or negative or not sure. And the majority here, 50% saying negative. 23% saying positive and 27% saying not sure. I also put one out earlier in the week about Spanish ham and whether people would pay top dollar for it. A lot of people saying no, they would not. Also about the 90-day rule, I put that out 4 days ago. Do you think the 90-day rule will change for British homeowners in Spain? That was 55% saying yes and 45% saying no. 816 votes. And the first poll that I put up last week, will the new Sanchez government last 4 years? Again, the majority of people here saying no, 74%, and 26% of people saying yes, and 632 people voting in that poll. So thank you very much for voting and contributing to the channel, contributing to the community on this channel. I appreciate it. Now, the final thing I want to talk about today relates to the Spanish language, and it was a big week for the Spanish language because the Real Academia Española, the body that controls the language here in Spain, everything from a linguistic point of view when it comes to the Spanish language is controlled by this organization, the RAE, and they announced that there are 4,381 new terms added this year to the Spanish dictionary. Well, I shouldn't say 4,381 new words because some of them are modifications, but lots of new words coming into the Spanish language. And basically what happens here is that there's a group of academics that sit down every year and they decide whether or not a word gets a go in the official dictionary. There's lots of words here in Spain that are spoken at a street level. You hear them on a daily basis, but they are not officially in that dictionary, and therefore they are not official words in the Spanish language. But as I said, every year they admit new words into the dictionary. Now, some of the words that have come in, and the words that I want to look at are English words that are coming into the language, or at least some of these words are originally from English. For example, the word sexting has made it into the dictionary. The word crack has made it into the dictionary. Now, in English, the word crack has many definitions. A few spring to mind. For example, there's a crack in the rock, or somebody's bum crack, for example. But here in Spain, the word crack means somebody who is very good at what they do. That person is an absolute crack. You will hear people say all the time, "Este chico es un crack," if he's very good at what he does, or if she is very good at what she does. Another word that makes it in this year that has its origins in English is the word cookies. No, not the thing that you eat in America, what I would call a biscuit, that type of cookie, no, but the computer version of cookies. You know, those things that get put into your web browser so that people know what you are looking at on your web browser. Another word also related to the internet is the word banner, advertising on the internet, banner. And an interesting one is the word no binario, which obviously comes from the English non-binary. That's a new word in English as well, I think, but that's made it into the dictionary too. And also other words that are quite popular at the moment in many languages around the world, especially in the Western world. For example, matriarcado and patriarcado, which are matriarchal and patriarchal words that are obviously thrown around a lot nowadays by a certain sector of the population. So interesting to see that the Spanish language is evolving and these new words coming in, some 4,000 new words coming in, modifications and the like. So interesting. Now on that note, I'm going to wrap the video up. Questions and comments, please leave them in the section below. Debate the video out as you normally do. If you have anything to add to the conversation, the comment section is the place for you. Give the video a thumbs up if you liked it, thumbs down if you didn't. I better get out of here before the civil guard come back and start hassling me again. So hasta luego, adios from this part of Spain. Bye-bye.